again, starting with Coach Baker, how does this new NCAA structure affect your school or even your job as a football coach?
Yeah, I think you'll probably hear the same thing from each coach. It still raises a lot of questions that we got to find answers to. But for us at East Carolina, you know, it'll affect us differently than other people at the table. But for us, it sets us up. You know, our administration, you know, our board of trustees has set us up to compete at a high level in the American Conference. And for us, you know, to be able to do that, to be able to support our student athletes with it, I think it's a great thing. Now, obviously, like anything that's happened over the last 4 or 5 years in college athletics, you know, we got to find the parameters to it. We got to find the ways to regulate it. But as far as being able to, you know, have the intentions to help our student athletes, to me, it set us up. And, you know, like I said, our university has put us in a great spot to compete at a high level.
Coach Oliver, you always look at me funny when I ask these questions because I know you're living in a slightly different world than some of the others next to you. I'm just quoting you.
Well, now, obviously, not every conference is getting 20. Each school's getting $20-some million, whatever you're talking about. So, I don't know. I think it's a place for it. Obviously, we're in a little different tax bracket, but I think it's a little hard over here. But no, I think it's a place for us, and we're gonna help our young men get home during you know, holidays and things of that nature, and with their nutritional needs. But as far as the Bentleys and the Maseratis and all that stuff, you see these guys, we haven't gotten there yet.
Coach Belichick.
Yeah, it's similar to the NFL model, but with way less money. You're looking at maybe $300 million for 50-some players in the NFL compared to, say, $15-20 million for 100 players in college football. So the money's quite different, but the model is similar.
Coach Diaz?
Yeah, I think it's different, right? We've had so much change in our sport, but I think it reinforces the things that never change. You still need to be a relationship-based organization. You want your recruiting to be relationship-based. You know, we're fortunate to the parents who drop their kids off at Duke University want their kids to graduate from Duke. And so now really the name of the game is retention. You know, football used to be about acquisition and development, but now you've got to retain them, you've got to keep them because they can be free agents basically right now twice a year. We're hoping to get that to once a year. So we say in our building, retention is a daily chore. You got to be the same people every day to make the relationships last, to keep them, which is no different than any of you do in your business, your line of work. To keep your employees happy.
Coach Doeren.
Yeah, you know, it's probably the last 3 or 4 years. Been doing this 30 more years in college now. Seen more change than I did in the previous 28 of my career. And when the NIL first started, it was a mess. And so I think we're all happy that the revenue share is now on campus. We were out fundraising. I know Manny and I, when NIL started, like it was 50% of our job. I mean, it was crazy. And so I now know that there's guaranteed rev share dollars that we don't have to go out and do that with. And I felt sorry for the donors. A lot of them are in here. I mean, it was donor fatigue for many of you. And thank everyone in here that's gotten that, because it's important. It's been great to see what some of our student athletes have been able to do for their families. And I mean, life-changing for some of them who's, you know, rent was up and they couldn't pay their rent, things like that, and getting their families to come to games. It's been really good. And so, you know, for the ADs that we work for, the chancellors, presidents that we work for, to know that that revenue now is coming in through guaranteed streams, I think has been a very positive thing. I would say, you know, we all deal with the negative sides of it, and, you know, hopefully they'll be able to get their arms around, you know, making this thing what it's supposed to be. The NCAA was created to create a level playing field for college sports, and it's been the opposite the last 4 years. You know, it's been who can pay the most to create a football team. You know, as you saw with last year's national champion, supposedly was paying over $20 million for their roster. And so we need to get back to where coaching and development and relationships is still the major focus behind what we do, and not just how much we can, you know, come up with to get somebody on our team.